this calculated map change that will deliver your dreams.
This is the best day ever.
Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lou. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lou will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lou.
My friends, welcome back. It is Monday morning. Welcome to Breakthrough with Lou, guys. Monday morning, ready to rock and roll. It's a chilly February morning here in Orlando. However, it's getting hot in here, baby. Yeah, talk about it. Last week we talked about the cold, and it's not been hard to hear commentary about the cold the past couple of weeks, wherever you are in the country. Even here in Orlando, we've had it down into the 20s. It's been crazy cold, but that wasn't what I talked to you about last week. I talked to you about cold immersion, cold therapy, and the wonders it can do for your body. It's amazing stuff, right? So last week we talked about the cold. This week we're going to talk about the heat, and we're going to figure out why it is that you need both extremes to be at the top of your game, okay? And I'm not talking to you as your athletes. I'm talking to you as everybody, okay? So I'm going to let you know here, you're going to gain energy, you're going to gain recovery, stress relief, better sleep, and we're going to talk about how to use this stuff safely. Okay, safety is important on this, and you know me, I'm always one to push the edge a little bit. But the safety side, you got to be sensible and safe about what you're doing if you're using anything that's more of an extreme therapy, right? Okay, so last week, what did we talk about? We talked about the cold, how it stimulates, it sharpens, it reduces acute inflammation. It gives you that boom, I'm awake, let's go feeling, right? Well, what does the heat give you? The heat is more restorative, relaxing, circulatory. It helps your circulatory system by opening up the vessels. The recovery. The real win here is not in which is the one or which is better or which is worse or which one you should do or shouldn't do. The real win is the strategic pairing of the two. That is the big win, guys. Strategic pairing of the two and then adjusting for what your goals are. Okay, some people have more of the I need to step up, I need the energy, I need the kick in the butt, but you also do need the recovery. Okay, and they're both recovery in their own way. But the pairing and the melding of both the heat and the cold is really where it's at. Okay, and I'm going to start out by telling you I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to give you medical advice. If you have any health issues, check with your doctor before doing either therapies. And listen up. If your doctor just goes, oh, that's woo-woo, or oh, that doesn't really work, well, then that's not a reason to listen to your doctor. If your doctor tells you you have XYZ condition, and this could kill you or hurt you or this or that, then you make your decision from there. But if your doctor's just like, oh, there's no scientific proof, or there's a lot of scientific proof on the heat and cold therapy. But if they give you it doesn't work or blow you off, that is not advice from your doctor to do or do not do something. You got to ask him. Sometimes you got to take them right by the shirt collar and go, is this a danger, doc? They'll tell you, oh, I don't have any proof that it's good for you. That's not what I'm asking you. Can I safely do it? And if they tell you no and you believe their answer, then you don't do something. Okay? So let me tell you about what infrared saunas truly are. And infrared, I think, is the way to go. The infrared sauna heats you kind of from the inside out. Okay? The infrared, like the sun rays, when you get out in the sun and you warm up, is different than, taking the hairdryer and running it across your body to warm up in the morning. Why do I use that example? Because I do that in the morning. I like to be warm. Don't get me wrong. I love the cold plunge in that, but it's not the feeling of being cold that I like. I like the feeling of being warm. The infrared heats your body, so it brings you up basically like a fever. Okay. Now, a traditional sauna, you got to go much hotter with because it's the outside in. It's you're heating the air where the infrared heats the air and your body. I personally prefer the infrared. I run around 160 when I do it. To get the same benefits, they say you got to do like 190, 200 in a hot air sauna. And I don't know. That seems uncomfortable to me. 160 is pretty darn hot, but it's a good hot. You get what they call a viscous sweat, where or subcutaneous, either or. They use the term intermittently. It's where you sweat, but it's like an oily, thick sweat. That's what's detoxing the body. Okay, so the infrared is a little bit lower air temperature, but a very deep warmth. You sweat profusely, but you also do that viscous sweat. Okay, who's it for? Who is sauna for, guys? I mean, well, anybody who wants to do their best to prevent cardiovascular disease later in life or current. It definitely opens up the blood vessels. There's a lot of good to it. They did a Finnish study in Finland where they had the control group was people that saunaed 0 to 1 time a week versus people that saunaed 5+ times a week. Followed them for 25 years, and they had an 80% reduction in the group that saunaed 5+ times a week. 80% reduction in sudden cardiac death. Okay, what does that tell you? 80% difference. That's not where you can go, maybe it's a little bit of this or a little bit of that. 80% from the control group. I would have liked to have been, if I did that study with them, I would have definitely wanted to be on the 5+ times a week because your chances are a whole lot better for survival. That tells me, and that was put on by the Finnish government. That's not something that's not a YouTube, and some of you may be watching me on YouTube. That's not a YouTube, idea. And there's a lot of great things on YouTube. I'm not saying something's on YouTube or channels on YouTube that it's not legit. But there are some people that are hokey pokey, hocus pocus with some stuff on YouTube too. The same as there's some doctors that can't get out of their own way. If they can't feed you a pill, they're not interested in talking to you. Okay? So who is it for? People are really busy, are sore, stressed. It's a great recovery. People have sleep issues. And they say, well, coach, you've taught us about that, you're not supposed to get hot before bed because you're supposed to cool. Yes. Well, when you get out of the sauna, you cool. You take a nice warm to cool shower. So you go from the hot to cool, and it tells your body it's time to rest. Pretty cool, huh? How about some benefits? What are some really good benefits to sauna? Recovery. Okay. Joints, recovery. Everything loosens up and relaxes. Your nervous system calms. You can literally get in a mindset reset while you're in the sauna. Now, you might be listening to some nice, relaxing music. You might be doing YouTube University. That's what I call it. I've got a nice TV outside of mine. It pipes in through Bluetooth, and I might be learning something while I'm in there. Or I might be just relaxing. Sleep support. The heat helps you get ready to power down. It's not the heat itself that makes you sleep better, because if you're too warm at night, your sleep is not going to be good. Circulation, amazing. I mean, when you get in the sauna and you start to heat up, you see arteries and veins that you have not seen maybe in a long time, or they're bigger than they normally are. It's obvious, the blood flow. I mean, it's just so obvious, it's not even funny. Now, so we also have skin health because of that viscous or sweat. You literally bring the oils to the surface for your skin. So if you want to look younger, might just be a solution, right? Okay. So, yeah, the detox is where it really gets in. pulling out the metals, the heavy metals. Now you got to be careful. I'm going to give you the caveat here. You want to do some of your electrolytes because along with the bad, it pulls the good. Okay. But it's also a consistency factor. I'm in 5 times a week. Basically, 5 nights a week I'm in the sauna. 2 nights I'm not. Sometimes 6 nights, sometimes 4, but almost routinely at least 5 nights a week. It's that wind down habit. What I would like to do is be doing it earlier than I currently do it. There you go, a little confession of a coach. Sometimes I don't do it perfectly, but I'll tell you what, I feel like $1,000,000. And I do use the niacin protocol to detox. Yeah, and we'll talk about that another day, but my God, tell you what, the day after I do that, I feel like $1,000,000. It's itchy hell while you're doing it because niacin makes you itch. And a lot of people talk about niacin in sauna and they're like, do I take it right before? No, you take it. And then when you start to come off of the itching and flushing is when the toxins are actually releasing. That's when you want to get in the sauna and get them out. Now, I personally do, activated charcoal after to continue to flush out. But there's, not technically can't recommend or not recommend that to you from a dietary standpoint. That's got to make your own decision on that one. I can't sit there and say, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what I do. And nobody can fault me for that. But stuff that works, sometimes they try to say, oh, you can't use it that way, or you're not supposed to, or you can't recommend. So there it is. Okay, so when you're starting out, how do you do this? How do you start out this sauna stuff? Well, if you don't have a sauna in your house, which most people don't, I do. If you're going to get one, get with me. It will get you a major $500 discount off of one, but also I will put you in the one that does not have toxic chemicals leaching into it. I will get you in the one that actually gets you hot enough to have an effect. You can't go to Costco and buy that one that's $1,900 and go, I got a sauna, because you're never going to hit the temperatures you need. And they're processed and made in China, and they have chemicals that leach out of the wood and everything else. Believe me, guys, before I bought mine, I did my research time and time again. If anybody wants to call in over out on Podbean, guys, you can call in. Next week, we're going to have full call-in on the shows. I've got a couple of things on my mixing board I got to adjust to make sure we don't get feedback, etc. on that. But we're going to have live call-in on the show. How freaking cool is that, right? Right? How cool, guys. So, yeah, start out 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, 140 degrees. Like I was saying, if you don't have one, somewhere like, and you got to be careful because a lot of these little health studio places have them, but they don't have the near and far infrared. The only one that I know of that actually uses the same commercial grade sauna that I have is Perspire. Because a lot of these little places, we were in Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. Yeah. And we were like, Atlanta, they do. They have a Perspire up there. It was somewhere, I think it was in the Panhandle. And it was like, oh, cool. This little health studio place has a sauna. Yeah, good. I don't have to miss out. No, it's South Carolina. And I go there, and it's one of the Costco style. Nothing against Costco, guys. We all have memberships there. And I got in there, and I'm like, it couldn't barely hit. It couldn't even get to 140. And I'm like, they're like, okay, time to come out. And I'm like, I didn't really break a sweat yet. That was a waste of money. But if you're going to be on the road or you're going to go somewhere, Perspire uses the same brand that I use. So I used to belong to Perspire prior to getting a sauna. I felt it was a better investment. And, 5 years later, it was a better investment than having a membership. However, to get started, but make sure that you're going somewhere that it gets hot enough and they've got the right type of saunas, and I can help guide you there. Reach out to me. I'll be happy to help guide you. Build it up 20, 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. Honestly, the sweet spot seems to be 40, 45 minutes for detox. And you might go, oh, that's a long time. No, once you get in there and you start feeling good and you're either listening to an audio book or you listen to some relaxing music or you're doing YouTube University or studying, you could even read. Your book might get wet, but there's once you start doing this, you're going to be like, hey, I don't want to rush this. This is my time, baby, my time. What do you need to do, though? You need to make sure you hydrate with minerals, okay? I personally use Evexia because they don't have any sweeteners at all. I don't like people that say, oh, stevia's grass. And you're like, it's not grass, it's a sweetener. Grass is generally regarded as safe according to the FDA. However, grass does not mean it's safe. It just means they don't have anything that they can say for sure that it's not safe. So yeah, I'm not a stevia person. A lot of people are like, oh, I like my electrolyte sweet. Well, I don't. I use Evexia unsweetened. It's just pure electrolytes. I don't taste it. Maybe it's had salty taste to it, but who cares? You taking care of your body. But hydrating before and after sauna is important, guys. And then when you're done, you want to cool down, shower, stretch, breathe, sit in the massage chair. And you're like, ooh, massage chair. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. Don't go out and buy one brand new. Get one used. The one that we have, shoot, I think I paid $400 or $500 for it. And if I had to go to the store and buy it, it would have been $4 or $5 grand. Joys of being in the auction business, we find deals. But, you find a used one, I'll help you hook you up with one of those if you're local. And, do this stuff. Make it a routine. Make it your time. So I'm not going to keep you guys too very long this morning, but this magic formula for inflammation and energy and balance in your body is cold plus heat equals healing. There you go. You got my formula. All right, now I'm a math teacher, guys. Cold plus heat equals healing. Okay? So sometimes people choose to do heat-only days and cold-only days. Okay. I think the best thing to do is cold in the morning to get your day going and heat at night and then let yourself cool down. Leave yourself that window to cool down afterwards so you can sleep. Because if you go ready from the hot sauna to bed, maybe a little bit before you fall asleep. So the real rule of thumb here is to listen to your body. Yes, both of them are going to have a level of discomfort, but that's where your growth is. That's where you change. If something's too easy, there's no resilience to it. You're not building anything. So, but listen to your body. If you get dizzy, you don't feel well, something hurts, something's way out of whack, that's the time to go, okay, is something going on? You get in the cold plunge, and if it's, your heart starts racing, you feel like you want to throw up and you're dizzy, that's probably a warning sign that, maybe something's going on cardiovascularly, or, you might not, that might not be the day to be in there. If you just go, oh, it's cold and uncomfortable and it makes me shiver, TFB. That's part of the game. You're growing, you're doing something good. But then when you come out and you feel amazing for the rest of the day, or at least several hours, instead of dragging through life like a frickin' zombie, it's worth it. You see what I'm saying here? Same thing with the heat. You're in the sauna and you're feeling great. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's hot as heck. I'm sweating my ass off. Okay, oops, I said swear, boo-boo word. All right, seriously. But if you start to feel ill or dizzy or like you can't breathe or something, and that's a sign that maybe that's not the day to be in there, or you have something medically going on. Okay, so use your head. Okay. But don't forget that, a lot of people are like, well, if it gets uncomfortable, well, uncomfortable is where the growth is. Okay, that's my deal. Uncomfortable is where the growth is. Now, with that said, don't be dumb about it. Okay, you listen to your body. So safety, overdoing time or temperature can take you out of into an unsafe zone. I did the cold plunge for 25 minutes. about 23 minutes in, I felt like I could have just gone to sleep in there and probably never woken back up. I mean, there's a point, and I'm never recommending doing a 25-minute cold plunge. That's your choice if you ever want to do something like that, if you're an extreme athlete or something. It was the most amazing feeling until like right at the end, I was like, I got to get out. And I made sure Jen was here so that I never, you're better off making sure somebody's home while you're doing any of these, or here or there for you. But if not, don't push the envelope too much. If nobody's there, God forbid, I did pass out. So watch what don't get crazy. Don't, for your first time, get in the sauna at 170 for an hour. That's probably too much. Same thing with don't go in a 25-minute cold plunge at 40 degrees and think that, day one, you're going to knock in to do that. What you can't do is you can't just dip your toe in the cold plunge and go, ooh, and ease your way into it. When you're going in the cold plunge, you get in the cold plunge. If you can only do a minute, you only do a minute. Okay, but you don't get in halfway and ease into it. That's not going to work. Okay, and getting in and hopping right back out is only going to stimulate you to wake up a little bit. It is not going to give you any anti-inflammatory benefits. There's time in. Same thing with the sauna. If you got in and stayed in there for 30 seconds and got out, that's not going to do anything for you. So you find the balance where you're pushing beyond your comfort, not beyond safety, but beyond your comfort, and then you build. Okay, make sure you're hydrating. If you start cramping a lot, having cramps, that means you are low on your electrolytes and your hydration. So if you're saunaing a lot, boost those up. Okay, and the one thing you can't do is use it to outwork a bad lifestyle. Okay, this we say the same thing with fitness and dietary. If you eat well, but you're absolutely lazy and you don't move and this, that, and the other, and you drink alcohol, you're not going to be healthy, no matter the fact you eat well. If you exercise really hard, but you eat horrible and consume alcohol or smoke or something, you're not going to outwork that. Now, if you get a good routine in where you're working out, you're eating clean, you're doing hot and cold therapy, you're doing breathing exercises, you're sleeping well, and maybe you have a drink or two here or there, well, you're probably going to be way further ahead. Now, if you don't touch any of the alcohol, period, you're going to be way ahead. Okay, I'm not a real proponent of alcohol, guys. Back in the day when I used to do legal stuff, legal oriented in law, we'll leave it at that. I used to do interviews to determine whether somebody should be released or not. And 98% of all domestics, alcohol or drugs. 98% of people that got locked up for domestic violence, alcohol or drugs. And a lot of times they didn't have any history. It wasn't a habitual thing. You got those, that's the other 2 or 3% where they're just habitual bastards. Excuse the language, but the bad judgment was always alcohol or drug related. So take that for what it's worth. Take that for what it's worth. Not a whole lot good comes from alcohol or drugs. And you always have somebody pipe up, go, red wine's good for you. No, it isn't. The damage that red wine does to your body far surpasses the goodness of the resveratrol in the red wine. The resveratrol you can take in a capsule without the rest. But I'm not saying never have a glass of wine. I'm not going to tell you I never have a glass of wine. But it's few and far between. All right, let me get back on track here. Make sure that you check with your medical person prior to doing any changes, self-help, fitness, hot, cold exposure. Keep it responsible. Don't let them, it's woo-woo, or just, am I safe to do this? Period. Not, do you believe in it? And a lot of doctors are good and they do believe in it. I know a lot of docs, and they, I won't visit with a doctor that's, anti therapies that work. Now, if a doctor tells me don't do something because of a particular reason, because you could die, I'm probably going to, listen to him as long as I believe that he's telling the truth. Okay. But, check with your medical. Make sure that you are healthy enough to have the shock, especially with the cold. It is a shock to the system. I mean, if you're like 90% gone on your heart, I probably would say it's not the thing for you. But if they tell you, oh, your cholesterol's a little high, well, it's probably not going to kill you to go on the cold plunge. It's probably going to do you some good to get in the sauna. Probably going to be a good idea to find, what it is that you can eat to make your body cleanse that. Because the thing is 90% of cholesterol issues don't come from what people eat. Quick story for you, then I'm going to cut you loose on that. Years ago when I was taking my ISSA certification for training, went in class and, I've always had a higher cholesterol run. Just natural, that's the way I am. It's a genetic thing. So nice instructor we had. He was 70-something years old, didn't look but 40. This dude was in tip-top shape. And he goes, oh, I eat 8 eggs a day. And I'm like, sir, can I ask you a question? I said, what's an alternative for folks like me who have high cholesterol? I can't consume that much egg. He said, young man. I liked him because I like anybody who calls me young man. He says, that's your homework tonight. He said, you go find me definitive proof that an egg will raise your cholesterol. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show him. Yeah, I'm young and going to show him. I'm going to show the old dude here. Mr. Old Dude that's in amazing condition for his age. I mean, like amazing. Not just good, but like freaking amazing. So I go in the next day, and guess where I sit in the room? I'm not up front where I can participate. I'm in the far back corner. We get in, and he's like, so, Mr. Lou in the back, what you got for me? I'm like, son of a gun. I'm like, sir, I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no definitive proof that eating eggs, whole eggs, as a matter of fact, the research I did said that whole eggs are a lot better than egg whites. And he goes, He said, see, that's what I wanted you to learn. He said, I didn't want to pick on you or make you feel uncomfortable, and you can come join the class instead of sitting in the nosebleeds if you like, because you were really participating yesterday. He said, I wanted to give you that. You don't go by the norm or the what people say. You gotta do your own research for you. And that was a moment in time. And to this day, I still remember it like it was yesterday. But what a gift that man gave to me. I think his name was Joe. The funny thing is I don't really even know what his name was anymore. But the thing was he gave me a gift to go, don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything that comes out of my mouth is gospel either. I mean, I do my research for you guys. And, and I do a lot of that. If I'm going to teach it, I'm going to do it first too. To see what are the results? What does this feel like? I'm not going to just go, oh, that looks like a good idea. Let me teach it to everybody. So, but my point is that stuck with me so much to go after it, learn. Okay. So I'm loving this, guys. So do me a favor, get out there, comment hot if you can try this out. And if you can do it more than 3 times this week, do hot, hot, hot. Give me a hot in the chat, in the comments for how many times you're committing to go do sauna this week. I'd love to see what your results. I want to know. I want you to talk to me. I want you to tell me, this sucked, or this was great, or at first it sucked and I didn't feel so great the next day. Well, it could be toxins coming out. But then after 5 days, I feel way better, or whatever it is. I want to know. I want to know what's up, guys. I want to know what's going on with you. So comment hot, hot, hot in the comments. Ask any questions. Next week, I'm going to give you a little preview. Next week, we're going to talk about how to stack these habits with net time. That's called no extra time, because time is something that we don't have any extra of. That's the one thing that's equal in this world, though. That's the cool part of it. Everybody wants equality, this, that, and the other. Not a damn thing's equal, guys. Your opportunities aren't equal. Your luck isn't equal. Your love from God is equal. But that's a whole story for another day, too. But the only other thing that is equal besides God's love for you is time. And you're like, oh, no. I have no. Compared to my neighbor who's, no. I don't have time. Bull cookies. No. And time is the one thing that's equal no matter where you were born, what your last name is, what color your skin is, what religion you are, anything else. The one thing that is equal is time, guys. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. I'd start doing math again. You guys put me in that math situation. No, seriously, though, we're going to talk about net time. So keep that in the back of your head for next week. And it's going to be a great show, guys. Hey, listen up. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always, and I mean always, live whose dream? Your dream. This is for you guys. I do this for you. Now go out there and do something with it and have an awesome day and report back to me hot, baby. Let's do it.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.